Well, hello there. I'm going to do something different. I usually get on politics or something and get talking. But this morning, I'm a little disturbed by some of the things I've been paying attention to, reading, noticing, whatever on the computer, all this news out of Microsoft and out of all these different places. Oh, I don't like to. I got no tunnel vision. I like to be all over the place. I like this news, that news. I like these different things. I like that brand guy that's over there on Rumble. I like that redacted feller and his wife. I like all kinds of things. That CNN, sometimes they got something kind of nifty on there. I mean, the biggest share of it, I really could care less. But I was thinking, wasn't long ago I was watching one of them shows on TV. There's a whole channel out there on the free channels I get on the cable, but I can't afford to pay for ones. But that free Ancient Aliens is the channel. And I guess there's a whole bunch of scientists, like that. I don't know, there's all different ones. There's several that have shows on there about ancient aliens. Did this, did that, did this other thing. Well, me being a religious man, and me believing in God and Jesus Christ is his only begotten Son in the flesh, and this other stuff, Adam being the first man, I kind of look at things differently. Now, there wasn't no ancient aliens, as far as I can see. No, in reality, there were the same fellers that there is now. Yeah. No, there's that, because you see that, you get into that gospel of Jesus Christ, or into the Bible, and you got that about the spirit world, where there was all spirits. You get into that Genesis. Okay, now, I know these people, these fanatical people, they say, God created the earth in 6 days. Well, he lives in an eternity, so I don't think 6 days even a thought in his mind. So millions of years it took to gather up all the rocks and different parts and stuff and put them together into a planet. That probably took a lot of time. Then, after they got it all stuck there, they started fixing it up so it was a Earth. They had a planet, but it was just a big mess. So they started fixing it and working on it and everything. Like you'd do if you was building this big fancy house or a castle somewhere. Okay? Now that all went through. Now they say that's 6 days. On the first day, on the second day he did this, third day he did that, fourth day he did that. Well, that all sounds good. That makes a good story. But anybody that's ever worked in construction know it don't work that way. They did anything in them first 6 days, they was making the blueprints. They was planning it out. They were saying, hey, we're going to need this, we're going to need that, we're going to eventually be nice to have some giraffes and some elephants and stuff like that on it before we stick the man on it. Okay, so that went through. Now, I don't know how many millions of years, doesn't matter. But, come down and finally, well, there's all this stuff they were doing. Well, let's try this out. Here, you kids, now that God was trying to teach these young ones how to do things. So we got a lot of things out there. We got Neanderthals, and we got Cro-Magnons, and we got dinosaurs, and we got Precambrian, and all these kind of things that people talk about. Those are all stages that it went through as these fellers was fixing and planning and working and building and putting. You know, it probably took quite a long time to put all that fossil fuel, they call it, down in the rock a mile or two. All this other kind of stuff. Fix things up so that natural gas would form. You know, they don't even think about all that. That took a lot of plants and things over thousands of years to do that. And then they was experimenting with these. He was showing them, here, genetics, let's do this. So they made a bunch of them kids, them young ones, and up there in that heaven, they made a whole bunch of things like dinosaurs and stuff. Didn't hurt nobody. There wasn't nothing. Wasn't no man to eat them up. Woolly mammoths. Them was big. Now, they talk about them dinosaurs being big. How weak was the gravity on the earth for something to get bigger than an elephant on land? You know, that gravity, something like a brontosaurus or a T-Rex, that gravity would have crushed. I don't care how they say it was built. The gravity couldn't have been the gravity we had now. See? A lot of things these guys don't talk about, don't think about, I guess. But anyway, it goes through. Now you get down through all of that, and there's time there when this old Genesis in the Bible, the Adam and Eve and all that. I don't know how he created. Maybe he took 100 pounds of clay, like it says in the old song, and made it up, made it all pretty like these guys do. Oh, some of these, them sculptors, like, all them sculptors made them beautiful statues, and Romans and Greeks and everything. I don't know, maybe they did it that way. Then, through some power in the cosmos, made flesh and blood out of it. I really don't know. Hey, maybe it was genetic engineering. I don't know. That was God. He did all that stuff. Now, come down there. Them guys in the 7 days. You look in the Bible, New Testament, you get into that book of Revelations and you read that. That book of Revelations, there's a place in there where there's a book that couldn't be opened. And this individual came up and took the book. And he opened it. Well, that would have been this Jehovah fella they talk about. He opened it, and he popped the first seal. Well, guess what? Adam wound up kicked out of heaven because he took of the forbidden fruit, whatever that might have been. Just had to happen. Original sin, they call it. Don't know what it was. Maybe he ate an apple. Maybe, I don't know. But he got this knowledge. So they got booted out. Now you come through, and you come through these seals. There were 7 seals on that book. That's 7,000 years. That's what it refers to. And all these things have happened. Noah came along, the flood. These scientists, they say, hey, this earth, it's all this, that, and the other. How do they know this planet wasn't basically flat when Noah built his ark? How do they know? It says back there in that Genesis that God went down and there was waters, and he separated the waters above and the waters below. And he left the firmament. Well, now, where'd all that waters above go to? Is that just floating around in space? Is that dark matter? Is that all these other things? No, nobody's going to tell you. with the magic of physics and the power of the knowledge of God on how to manipulate all these things. It's not hard to believe. Okay, now, you come down, you got the flood. Okay, somebody popped another seal. You come through, you get down to the meridian of time when Christ was born on the earth. Okay, now, what was that, 4,000 years? 3,000, 4,000, 5,000? Doesn't matter. God works in developments. If something develops in this amount of time and eternity, this can happen. If it takes longer to develop, it's going to wait a couple of 100 years. See? Now you go along and think about it. They built this earth, they put the man on it, and Christ was born. He was crucified, he come down. That's been 2023 or so years ago. So, according to what's in the book of Revelations, there's been close to 6,000 years. Well, maybe we're into the 7,000 years. Well, then there's supposed to be a second coming of Christ. Okay, well, you see, they talk about these things. They talk about that Newton feller back there developing calculus. Who's to say one of them heavenly creatures, an angel, didn't come down and teach Newton, inspired Newton to come up with that calculus? Who's to say all that stuff that Michelangelo came up with wasn't inspired by one of them angels, one of them people out of the heavens? Ancient aliens? No, they weren't aliens. They belonged here. They built the place. They helped create it. See, now you got to think about all these things. Now, I'm going to try this again. I got to go do some more reading, do some more thinking. But I think that whole thing about religion, about ancient aliens, about God and Jesus Christ, about Allah, it all works in there somehow, but it's not ancient aliens. No, it's the Creator that is mentioned in that Declaration of Independence we got. They said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all mankind, are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, natural rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now you see, if you get to thinking that way, and then you get to looking at these guys that's got all this stuff going on, that Biden and that Bill Gates and that Schwab guy over there in Davos, Switzerland, wherever you talk about, this one world order. You look at it, I've said there's two churches, the Church of God and the Church of the Devil. Which one do you belong in? Look at that story of Cain and Abel. Abel was a righteous man, lived in the Church of God. Cain was a lazy so-and-so, one of these spoiled brats. Oh, when things don't go right, why don't I just deserve it? Give it to me. Fit right in with that devil that had done that in heaven. So, the devil told him, hey, kill Abel and you can inherit all his flocks and stuff. Okay, worked out. Well, now, who's that devil talking to now? See, think about religion. maybe, just maybe, all these things that are going wrong, that aren't for the good of man, that are causing harm, that are causing people to go hungry, that are causing people to not have heat in the wintertime, maybe that's that Satan fella over here in his church trying to destroy what God, a loving, kind God, created for us. Think about it. I'll talk again.